Well, hello everyone. It's Don once again. Thanks for joining me. So we got a few people online. It looks like. Let me see here if I can get all the. Okay, let's see. So we got Jerry Harris says hi everyone, and Kevin K says hi Don. Any update about the proposed hospital? Thank you for all you do.
Hello everyone. It's Don.
Uh-oh. Hang on. We got echoes.
So we got a few people online.
Whoops. That's what I get for leaving too many computers on. Anyway, so, again, thanks everybody for being here. Laura, welcome back from Chicago. Kathy, hello again. So, anybody got any questions they want to start the day with? By the way, I got a new microphone. Let me know how it sounds. This is a better one than I've been using in the past, and hopefully it sounds better. Looks like this is my new Saturday. So, Land Girl GB says, looks like this is my new Sunday activity. Hello, everyone. And Bill says he's watching from cold Long Island. Lifestyle visit the second week of May, hoping for a house purchase and to become a full-time villager. I understand that. So I was out looking this morning at new houses for Debbie and I. We're looking for a second home. So Therm Curb says, hi Don, if Villages residents pay Wildwood and Sumter County tax, does either one of those provide funds to the Villages Fire and Rescue, or are we paying for duplicate services we are not receiving? Good question. So right now, everybody pays to the general fund. The general fund pays for the two fire departments. Next year, there is the dependent district that is going to pay for the Villages Fire Department, and there is a separate Sumter County fire assessment that only residents outside of the Villages Fire District pay. So you are only paying for your fire service that you are receiving, not you're not paying for two fire services. We can't do that. It's not allowed. So, we've taken the steps necessary to separate those. It's a very difficult process, and the numbers really don't work towards the favor of the non-Villages residents in Sumter County. Let's see. Jerry says, hey, sounds great. Okay, good. The microphone's working well then. Let's see. Victoria Chanel says, hi Don, I was wondering if all the new home builds are going to be in the 600 to 700 like the Street of Dreams. We plan to buy a veranda. Will they be priced that high? No, I don't believe so. Looking at the prices this morning, they are. I was looking at verandas in the 400 to 500 range. That's what Debbie and I are looking at right now, as well as courtyard villas. But we're seeing what our options are. But no, the 600s and 700s. I think most of those, when you ask those prices, those Street of Dreams homes have a lot of upgrades in them, and many of them were also premier homes. And from the outside, it's hard to tell them apart. But look at the roof line. If it looks about 2 foot higher, that's probably a premier home. All right. Laura says, what part of April do you notice the snowbirds have left, or do many stick around until May? That's a good question. Snowbirds and love bugs have the same seasons. It seems like when the love bugs start to appear, the snowbirds disappear. And the second time they start to appear in like October, the snowbirds reappear. But right now we're still in the high season, but I expect in the next 2 to 3 weeks to see a nice shift in decrease in population. And Patty is watching from Long Island. So, anybody else got any questions? If not, I went through the YouTube comments, the questions that I got, the emails, the text messages, and I threw those all together, and there's there's some general ones that I'll show you first and answer first, and then the next group will be all about the last video, the golf courses. A lot of people disagreeing with my calculations, but I'll explain those. And then the last question of the day really is the big question of the week, and it's concerning the fire department funding. I'll get a little more detailed into that, as well as the county funding and how all that's going to start to play out. I don't know the exact numbers. Nobody really does. We still have a few months to wait on that. The big determining factor on what the final numbers look like are coming from the property appraiser's office. I think it's the 1st of June. Yeah, I think it's the 1st of June. We get the estimated values for property taxes for the upcoming year, and that's when we can start making solid numbers. Let's see. Rich wants to know realistic estimate on when Eastport Town Square opens. I'm gonna stick my neck out, and looking at it right now, I would give it probably next summer or next fall. Just there's so much that's got to happen. Okay. Janet, I think I got your question earlier. It says, it's Frank. Okay, it's a friend of mine, Frank. He's another instructor at the Enrichment Academy. Teaches some great courses on dream interpretation. He says, Don, do you know if the ponds in Moultrie Creek and Shady Brook are lined, or will they be, or will they be fountain aerators? Yes, they're all lined. The only ponds that I know of in the south end that are not lined are the ones up in the enclave, because there's no piping connection to the rest of the retention pond system. So they're designed to be dry ponds. As far as aerators, yes, I've seen the aerators running in the ponds. Because the ponds are shallower here in the south end, or in the south end, than they are in the northern end, the aerators help keep the ponds from collecting too much algae and that. Wow. Okay, I guess I did make a good choice on the microphone. Thanks, David. Let's see. Great question. Hi, everyone. Carol. Hello, Carol. So, just point out, I noticed this morning that they have lined the temporary Central Parkway. Oh, so Mike O is telling us that they've put the lines on the temporary Central Parkway that's going through Lake County. So they're doing that so that they can basically tear up the old County Road 470, like they did going through, what are those villages? I got my map right here. Just like they're going through Water's Edge and Shady Brook. They took out 470, and now it's turning into landscaping and homes. Terry Wood says, do you know what is going on Warm Springs Road? Old houses that were recently boarded up and their lawns were cleaned up. No idea what's going on. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about, I believe, in Adamsville, and that's the area just to the west of Monarch Grove. No, not Monarch Grove. Marsh Bend, just to the west of Marsh Bend. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's see. Janet wants to know, any new restaurant stores coming since you announced Panda Express, Target, Home Depot? Nothing that I remember right off the top of my head. I haven't shot the next video yet. I'm going to be doing that later this week, and then I'll spend all of next week, all my free time, editing it. All right. So, no more questions. Let's shift over to the questions that I got. Let's see if we can make the software work. So Ken Crawford says, sure would be great to know where these villages are are in relation to other areas of the villages. Where is Oak Hollow and LaGrange in relation to an established part of the villages? Good question. That goes along well with the next question, which is this one. While watching the excellent videos you produce, thank you very much, about the villages, I see a color-coded map showing the location of the individual villages within the villages. Is this map available either online or in paper? I would like to get a copy of the latest version if it's available. So yes, it is. Go to my website, goldwingnut.com, and you can go goldwingnut.com/villages-map, or as it shows right here, click on that tab, and that will give you a link to where I upload these maps. Bill Vaines is graciously producing these maps and sharing them with me every week. So I haven't posted Friday's update yet. I will get that sometime this evening and get the latest update. It's little changes every week, but they're adding up. So, trying to keep track of where all these villages are, I get it. It's difficult. Things are kind of crazy as fast as things go here. But I try. Let's see. David Cox wants to know, what village are you considering purchasing in? Right now we're looking at Moultrie Creek and Shady Brook. It's where I said in the previous video, where I thought the best place to buy is down there, and I'm jumping on it. All right. Next question is, I gotta remember to click on the right screen before I hit the keyboard. What's happening to the old high school on 466? Is it being used? Last word I got is it's going to be renovated, and it will be turned into the new middle school. The middle school will be renovated to expand the elementary school, to expand the overall capacity of the Villages school system, the charter school system. Let's see. Chuck wants to know, when the siding gets old, would it be possible to swap it out with hardy board? Honestly, I don't know. That is an issue to take up with the Architectural Review Committee. And let's see. I'm not even going to try and pronounce. It's a bunch of initials, it looks like. Does the developer still allow you to make expansions since they are now mostly using prefab concrete walls? Yes. They are limiting the expansions, though, to a preset group of expansions. Obviously, it looks like they're trying to shift mainly to the prefab walls, and so they'll have a set of walls that they'll use. But yes, there are expansions. Okay. Let's see. Georgette North says, Eastport is being constructed very slowly. The new state-of-the-art hospital is never mentioned anymore by the developer. These are the things that draw people to buy in that area. It's not just about golf courses. I agree. That was a topical video. Okay? That's all I was looking to talk about in that video, was about the golf courses. My general videos try and cover all the new construction that's going on. So, the last I heard is they are still in negotiations trying to finalize a provider for the new hospital. And once they do, they are going to make an announcement. When that announcement's going to be, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. Let's go to the next question. This is from Curb Appeal. I see this is a bit late, So don't know if you'll answer it, but it's about the hospital you mentioned. That's HCA hospital. That's been going on for a couple of years. She's hoping to move because they're hoping to move because of their brother-in-law. All right, HCA is looking at the area just south of the village of St. Charles and next to I can never remember that golf course name. Um, Basically over by the water tower, behind the 466A emergency department is where they're looking to build that hospital. And as far as I know, it's still on track. Let's see. Let's see. Don, my husband and I love your videos. Thank you. They're very informative. We have a question about 470 and rerouting of it. When it's finished, will it go straight through the village of Water's Edge, or will it run along Central Parkway? All the maps they're seeing are not specific. Yes, so Central Parkway will be 470 up until the fire station, and then at the fire station you can go back on old 470's route, or you can go continue on Central Parkway. Let's see. Let's see. Mike O says, let me switch back to cameras. Here we go. So Mike O's question, I believe before you mentioned that Bexley or Barr was going to run all the way to 472. Actually, it's 471. So are there any plans for a road to run south from 470 Central Parkway to 48 near Center Hill? So let me think. You got to remember which road is which. So Landstone Boulevard, which is the one that goes by the high school right now, by the high school stadium, that one eventually runs down to 48. It's still obviously a couple of years off, though. Bob B says, along with Highway 301 plans for major change and new future communities stretching towards I-75, will Reeder Path access one of the newer communities as well? That's unknown. I mean, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the land just south of Reeder Path. I know that what you're talking about. There is an open lot there. The one thing I will tell you is that the Villages doesn't leave an open space like that unless they have a plan. I would say eventually, yes, that road will be continued on, but when and what it's for, I have no idea. Let's see. Marvin says, if I buy a home now, can I know not to be surrounded by renters? You know, some people buy to rent. Some people buy to move in right away. Some people are seasonal residents, snowbirds, if you will. But you know, there's no guarantee. I mean, I've been in my courtyard villa right now for next month will be 10 years. And when we moved in, we had a lot of renters and we had a lot of snowbirds. That has shifted tremendously. I am not overly fond of the Airbnb, the short-term rentals. We have neighbors that are they're long-term renters, and they're good friends, and you know, I have no problem with the long-term renters, but the short-term renters, they tend to turn it into a vacation spot, and this is our homes. Let's see. Ooh, lots of questions coming in. Are you concerned about school noise if buying in Shady Brook? No, I'm not. You know, the only school noise I'm sure we'll hear is from the football stadiums on Friday nights, and maybe if they have some other athletic events. And you know what? I'll probably go see a high school football game because I'm certainly not a big fan after the last couple of years with the NFL and some of the players taking a knee. But let's not get into that subject. Let's see. Charles says, will the non-Villages homes and new businesses along Warm Springs Avenue be served by the Villages Fire District, and if so, will they pay the same taxes as Villagers? That's a good question. Non-Villages homes along Warm Springs. There are some that are in the Villages Fire District, and they will be paying the taxes also. The same. They're going to get the same assessments as Villages residents from the what is it called? Villages Public Safety Department Dependent District. Phew, what a name. Wish we could have come up with something shorter. Let's see. And we're going to talk more about that later on in the broadcast. John and Jane said, please hit the like button, support the channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Virtus893 says, 128 folks in here in the chat and only 18 likes. Please help John. Thank you. Appreciate it. We are looking to buy in Eastport based on what it has to offer. Oh, what do you see houses coming for sale? Oh, far south of what is... When do you see houses coming to sale farther south of what is currently available in Eastport? Whoa. So I don't think they're going to go too much farther south right now or immediately beyond Shady Brook. Maybe I'm cheating here. I'm looking at my map. So this, I'm going to do this backwards. So that's Shady Brook, the purple, and this is Merritt Field. This is Water's Edge. Maybe Merritt Field, but these villages up here, the ones north and east of Eastport, I think will be first before they start moving south again. They're just managing the construction, and it's definitely seen that way. I think they're going to be moving more towards the east, towards the county line first, based on what I'm seeing, and even the rerouting of County Road 470 that's with the temporary road that's going on right now. But first it's going to be, what are those villages? It's going to be Well Point, Oak Hollow, Edenfield, Green Grove Hill, Hopkins Pass, Shady Hill, Farmstead, Bradshaw Hill, Merritt Field. So those are going to come first. Let's see. But as far as farther south, it's probably going to be at least 2 years before they really start moving there. Let's see. Don, nice cameo that you made on Villages Learn and Grow Expo video. I haven't seen the Villages Learn and Grow Expo video. I didn't know anything about that. I'll have to look for it. Frank says, do you have to have a drone to take your classes at the Enrichment Academy? Can you talk about them a bit? Yeah, sure. I'll talk about those, Frank. 3 classes I give. First one is drone basics. You don't need a drone. You're interested. You're not sure what you want to do, where you can do, what the rules are. That's the class you take. It's 4 2-hour classes, Tuesday, Thursday, over a 2-week time frame. And I even give you advice on what to buy based on what's currently available in the market and what the best aircraft are at this point. Step 2 is once you get your aircraft, this is how to use the software. The software I like to liken to Excel or Word. Most people use those programs, but they don't really understand all the functions and features. I've been using this flight software for years now. I understand what all the settings mean, all the ins and outs, and what all the features are. And that's what I teach in the second class. That's step 2, and that's again, 4 2-hour classes. Then step 3 is really my advanced class. I teach how to use a program called Lychee. It's a third-party application used to fly the drone. And if you've seen my golf course flights, they look really buttery smooth. I am not a good pilot, but I am a good programmer, and Lychee is what did that. And I teach you how to do that kind of stuff. Jeffrey says, how soon do you think it will be before the widening of the turnpike begins in earnest? How long will it likely take for that portion that runs through Villages? So I am a member of the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Lake and Sumter County, and this is one of our hot projects for the MPO. Excuse me. Must have coffee. It is slated to begin, I believe, in 26, and it will probably take about 2 to 3 years for it to work. One of the other questions that I have in the slate of questions for today, I'll go ahead and answer it now, and we'll just skip through it when I get to it, and that is, are they going to put a sound abatement wall up? That has not been determined yet. When they widen it, the plans for widening of the turnpike are not finalized yet. So until they are, we won't really know that. But that's a sound abatement wall. That's a very expensive item, but it's necessary. I will say that as you go farther south, those walls are being put up, so I doubt they will change from that particular. I threw a pup cam up. That's my girl Lily. Hey baby. There you go. There she is. And okay, not much to look at, just a hairy chest. But the sound abatement walls, all right, sweetie, are definitely something that they have been doing traditionally. So I would suspect that they will continue to do them. You can see her nose right there. Looking at maps, there doesn't. Okay, this is from Jeff again. Looking at maps, there doesn't seem to be much property existing between the turnpike and the golf courses adjacent to it. It's actually a lot, and they already own all the land they need for the widening. But there is quite a bit of land there. I don't think it's safe for the cars. If I'm on that golf course, the way my ball goes, it's going to go off to one side or the other. But they're pretty substantial. A pretty substantial distance away. In Caber, sorry, some of these abbreviated names I don't get. Anyway, how long until Edenfield is available to purchase lots? No idea. Several months though. Edenfield has a lot of work still to be done. They're still working on the golf course. I would not expect it for probably 6 months at least. They don't like to sell lots on the golf course until the golf course is just about ready to open, and we've seen that over in Moultrie Creek. So the course. I mean, the course is looking really good. I was out there today. It looks great, but it's not quite open yet. But many of the homes now in Moultrie Creek are being occupied. We drove by and we saw several people living in homes on Very Loop, in the veranda homes that are right off Very Loop. Several people also. Okay, so let's go back. Since we don't have any more questions in the queue, we will go back to the questions. And let's see. We talked about that. Jane Buck says, event parking, always a problem. I hope they've planned for a solution. So what Jane is talking about, in my last video, I showed, maybe it was the one before, I don't remember. They all start to blur after a while. But I showed Eastport and the waterfront area. The waterfront area, my understanding is they're going to be able to block it off very easily, the road on the waterfront. There is no street side parking on the waterfront road. it stops at that road. So they'll be able to block it off. That opens up a huge area, that width of the road, all the way to the sidewalk on the south side, for a lot more people. So there is quite a bit of parking around it, but because that area also encompasses the Olympia Recreation Center and the ballparks, the parking lots that would normally be used for those areas will also accommodate more parking for cars and golf carts. So there is a substantial amount of parking. It looks to be about 50% more than what we see at Brownwood, which I think has probably the most available parking. But so I don't think that we're going to have a parking issue. Next question. This is the one about the turnpike walls. But yeah, hopefully it will cut down on the noise. I know that some of the folks in Monarch Grove have tried to get sound abatement walls put up. The question becomes who's going to pay for it. And it's not going to be the developer, it's not going to be the CDD, and it's not going to be the county. None of them have the money for it, nor do they have an obligation for it. The turnpike was there when you bought your house. It's like, stop the airplanes. I bought a house near the airport. Now stop the airplanes from going over because it makes too much noise. It's not going to happen. All right. Question is, will there be a cart path coming out of Monarch Grove following the new Marsh Bend Trail Road that will connect to the path that goes to the new high school? Yes. If you look on some of the maps, and actually if you drive down Monarch or Marsh Bend Trail, you will see the cart path is going in. That goes all the way down to Eastport. I'm not sure the exact route around the, Bel Air Executive Course down by the new fire station number 48 that's being built, which is coming along fantastic. I just saw it today. But there will be a cart path along that road. Okay. So this is from Dennis Mark. This is a long one. Basically, the question goes on. He bought a house, a lot of white stone shingle roofs, and they're having a mold stain on them. And it looks a little unsightly. I know, I'm getting mine cleaned here in a month or so. And he talks about pressure washing. Yeah, pressure washing your asphalt shingle roof is not a good idea. Not do it. There's some chemical cleaning that they do that is proven to be effective and not damaging the shingles, and then they can do a treatment afterwards that helps extend the life of the shingles. And if you're living in Florida, this whole shingles thing the roof thing has become a real headache. The insurance company is saying your house is so many years old. We're not going to insure you unless you get a new roof. Well, I got a 30-year roof shingle or a 20-year roof shingle, and you're telling me halfway through I got to replace it. There's a lot of upset people about that. I don't know where that's going to go. I know the state legislature has been looking at the home insurance issues, but I'm not sure where that's going at this point. And he says, notice that the developer is no longer building homes with the white roofs. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna look at conditions. They're gonna look at see what's happening. And if a product works for them, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And they're gonna make changes, just like their floor plans change every year. They add new floor plans. They modify existing floor plans. All right. So we got some more questions coming in. Rich says, do you anticipate golf cart access over the Turnpike 470 Central Parkway when finished? Well, they are going to build in a second bridge, from what I understand. They have to if they're going to make it 4 lanes, because the current one isn't. It does make sense to add a golf cart lane. Whether they do or not is entirely up to the developer, because they're going to be the ones building the bridge, and how it's going to be funded, I don't know. James Dreyer says, when do you think the first shops in Middleton will open? Sometime right after the school year, the start of the school year. Lisa asks, do you see any issues with termites for newer homes in the villages? Been here 10 years, no termite issues in my neighborhood that I know of. Unschool says, do lighter colored shingles translate to a cooler house, garage, or attics? In the Florida sunshine? No, it all gets really hot. I mean, the best thing you can do is good attic ventilation. There's many companies out there right now that are offering a solar-powered forced ventilation fan for your attic. That helps tremendously. Most of the roofs have some sort of ridge vent or pop-up vent for natural circulation of the air to help cool it down. Let's see, Bob B says, oddly, the new Bexley Bridge over the Turnpike has no signage installed yet. Your thoughts? You know, I've been across that bridge probably 50 times, and I never really thought too much about it. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't have an answer on that one. Frank says, we bought and closed on our first home while out of state, so we missed seeing the build. We're buying again. Can you talk about your photo service? Thanks, Frank, for the plug. Frank is talking about the service my company, Wingnut Productions, does. My background, besides 20 years on submarines operating a nuclear reactor, I got out of that. I went into construction, and I was a project manager for most of that time. And basically what my service is let me get this back over here. My service that I provide is you're building a new house. I start taking pictures of your house from groundbreaking all the way through until basically we get locked out. I take pictures inside and outside so that you have a good view of what's going on. I can't intercede with the developer or the builder. That I have no obligation or I have no authority to do that, and I won't do that. But if I see something that doesn't look right, which is rare, they do a really good job here, then I will let you know. The files, the pictures and video footage are uploaded to you on a file share service as soon as they go up. I just sent them out about an hour ago to all my current customers. All their pictures went up. So if you're one of my customers, go check your Sugar Sync file share. You've got new pictures from yesterday up. But I can also do a YouTube video. All the information of that, all the information for my service is on my website, goldwingnut.com. Have you acquired, I will get this out shortly. Unschool says, have you acquired a lot yet in the Eastport area? No. I'm not looking for a lot. I am looking for either a courtyard villa or a veranda home. And the reason for that, you might have saw a few minutes ago, I have 2 golden retrievers. I need a fenced-in yard. So that's kind of important to me that they are well taken care of and they have a place to go outside. Let's see. Victoria says, hi on school, redoing roof right now. Okay, well, not really a question. All right, let's go back to our questions. And we will move on to the next question. Yes, Bruce says, there's often a large backup of traffic, both autos and carts, at the entrance to St. Charles at Buena Vista Boulevard. Has anyone submitted a request to improve this crossing? Could there be a parallel path along the east side of Buena Vista to go through the tunnel at the Seabreeze Recreation Center northbound? Who's going to pay for it is always the first question. You know, the cart path is expensive. That's going to have to be coming out of our CDD funds. That specific CDD is, I believe that's 8. And 8 actually doesn't have much multimodal path. Most of theirs is street on the street. just because of the configuration of that area. But you know, I honestly I don't think it's going to happen. You know, it's very expensive. It's very difficult to do. And for every person that wants it, there's going to be 3 people that don't. And when traffic backs up, people often waive their right-of-way to carts, which ultimately causes bad habits at other crossings. You are absolutely right on that, Bruce. That is a bad habit, waving carts through. The carts do not have the right-of-way. The vehicles have the right-of-way. Let's see. Holly wants to know: are you aware if there will be an addition of a movie theater in Middleton or Eastport? You know, I asked that question to a friend of mine who is in the know, and no, there's no plans. The movie theater industry really has taken a dive since COVID. Everybody watches everything streaming now, myself included. As much as I love the Barnstormer, you know, a bag of Orville Redenbacher, I can pop a whole box of Orville Redenbacher microwave popcorn for less than what it cost me for a bucket of popcorn at the theater. The fee is, $5, $6, $8 maybe to watch the movie, and that's for Debbie and I and the 2 dogs to watch it. I don't have to pay extra for a second person. And I can also enjoy a nice glass of scotch on occasion with my popcorn as I'm watching the movie. So, no, I don't see a movie theater coming. We're at our golf course questions. Let's see. Go back to our live chat here. We got 164 concurrent viewers. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. That's great. I think that's a new all-time high. I try to give you guys good information and make sure that, what I am telling you is correct. If I find that I have made a wrong statement, let me know, and I will correct myself. I have no problem with that. Don't tell my wife I said I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, because I don't let her know that I get wrong very often. All right. Let's see. Golf course video about golf is very informative. Thanks. Lowlands was the last executive course to open back in 2017, so about 7 years. Did you notice such a large gap in the past? So, the gap really has a lot to do with the geography of the areas that they had. They built quite a few courses, between Lowlands, Red Fox, Gray Fox. I know they're in bad shape. We'll get to that. It's one of the questions. Red Fox, Gray Fox, Loblolly, and Longleaf. Okay, so those 5 are over there. On the other side, they're experimenting with this whole concept of the pitch and putt. It's not executive golf, I know. But the other thing was they knew they had to put another championship course in. So it's a balancing act. And but as you can if you watch the last video, you can see they are moving full steam ahead. They've got 4 executive courses underway, and as I said, I've seen some preliminary drawings of some of the other areas, and it looks like there are many, many more to come. And I don't think they're giving up on them. They were limited on the land that they had, and honestly, that once you get past the area where St. Catherine, Case and Hammock, and whatever that other village is, Citrus Grove, is, it's all relatively narrow, so there's not a lot of room to build courses. Unschool says, pics look great on Sugar Sink. What goes in after the sod and flooring aside from the landscaping? So Unschool's talking about, obviously you're one of my customers, and thank you for the question. So after the landscaping and the flooring go in, or yes, landscaping gets finished up. Lots of cleaning, lots of punch list work, touch-up work, getting the house ready for sale. The last week they will spend a tremendous amount of time cleaning. Let's see. Janet says, if you live in Lake County, part of the Villages, and near a preserved pond, you can request mosquito spraying on the Lake County website. And as I recall, you can also request mosquito spraying from the Sumter County website. We do have that service. All right. So I want to go over some of these golf course questions. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We got one more from Bob B. Future CVS at Magnolia Plaza, the only planned building on that corner. Lot of turf there. Yes, that's the only building I know that is planned. Don't forget, along with the building, which is considerably sized, there's quite a bit of parking that goes with it. Just go look at the one at the corner of, well, that's a Walgreens, but Walgreens, CVS, same thing, pretty much. They're both multi drugstores, but the building is like 10,000 square feet, and then they've got it's more than 10,000. It's a lot more than 10,000. But anyway, irregardless, there's also a lot of parking that goes in there. So I think that's the only thing that's going in there. So here we go. So John did not understand the graphs I posted in the last video. He talks about lines intersecting. The lines intersecting is irrelevant. The lines that I showed were executive courses and championship courses. That was the number of holes per home. Or excuse me, the number of homes per hole. And that was just one number that could be used. We could say the number of executive courses, or number of homes per executive course. The number would just be 9 times higher than the number of homes per hole. So it really doesn't matter. People can deal with a number like 200 much easier than they can deal with a number like 1,800. So that's why I chose the homes per hole figure. It only included executive courses. It did not include any pitch and putts or putt and plays. It did not include any future homes. It just included the villages through Dabney, the stuff going in, Moultrie Creek, Shady Brook, and all that, and the courses down there were not included. Okay. So my numbers, I think, are still good. I'll show you the graph at the end of these questions. Projecting out farther, man, my Magic 8 Ball is broken, and my crystal ball is cloudy. It is all I can do to look a month or two ahead, and sometimes 3 or 4, to figure out what's coming next with the developer. They keep secrets better than the government, but that's no secret to anybody. How to project farther out and when something's going to happen, I can give you rough approximations, but there's no guarantee. So I stuck with the numbers that were as accurate as I could get them. Let's see. Here we go. Hey Don, do you know why Red Fox and Gray Fox have been closed since Saturday? So this is about a week old comment. Red Fox and Gray Fox had some issues. I'm being nice. Red Fox and Gray Fox's greens have deteriorated. And it's pretty much the same as we were seeing between the 6s. But those courses are only 7 years old, thereabouts. They should not be deteriorating. Why they are, it makes me question all the answers that we've gotten so far on what's going on. But these courses they're under a lot of stress, and the Florida weather is very tough on them. So yeah, as far as I know, it's just they were closed because of the condition of the greens. Here we go. Tim says it's bad enough. There are so many executives when you start counting pitch and putt courses, you are padding your numbers. Again, I didn't use pitch and putts. Just the courses. I have no hidden agenda to try and make this look better or worse than it is. I'm just trying to present the facts. Let's see. So Daily Green says, I don't know if anybody addressed this. Okay, so he's talking about he was here for a lifestyle preview and he was unable to get a tee time at any of the courses. He said he was seriously considering buying a house in the Villages because of the amenities, but based on experience, I don't think there's enough executive courses for the amount of golfers who want to play at least twice per week. I don't know how many are playing twice per week. I don't know the statistics. I know when I first retired, I was playing 4 and 5 times a week, and I never had any problem getting a tee time, but that was in the summer. And yes, in the winter months, when in the high season, it is very difficult. The other thing is you have to open up your window of the time that you want to play. If you want to play between 8 and 9 in the morning at these two courses, probably not going to get it. You're probably not going to get it. But if you say I want to play from first out until 11 o'clock, and you give them a dozen different courses, and it's just one or two, or you're going to force them, odds are you're going to get one of those courses relatively well. Is the chances are very good. My golf group that I golf with on Saturday morning, we had a bereavement breakfast on Saturday because we couldn't get a tee time for all 17 of us in our group, and we had to open it up. It's a busy time. It fluctuates. I've been here 10 years coming up, and in the summertime, man, you walk out there, you can go to any course you want just about, and walk on and grab a tee time and play, and it's not a problem. Yes, it's not every day you can do that, but most of the time you can grab a tee time in the afternoons, especially. Let's see. Kevin Villager says, what don't you understand, Don, is the pitch and putt courses are not executive courses. Championships are pay to play. We need more executive courses. Nobody wants to walk 18-hole course in 100-degree heat and hit a ball 75 yards, and you don't want to. I don't think you know what a pitch and putt is. Yes, I am a complete idiot. I don't know what a pitch and putt is. Really? Give me a break, Kevin. I know I did not include the pitch and putts. There are more than 2 true executive courses being built right now. There are 4 under construction. It rarely gets to 100 degrees here in Florida. It stays in the mid-90s in the summer. So yes, I do know the difference, and I did not pad the numbers. Scott goes on about the number of homes being built. Yes, the number of homes has been built. I understand it. The area south of the Turnpike is 17,407 homes, not including the new areas over in Middleton or south of Eastport. So yes, the ratio is rising, but it's not a perfect system. The numbers are going to go up and down over the years as homes are built and new golf courses are opened. So this is the chart that I was talking about. This was in the last video. So the orange line, I can't spell championship obviously if you look at the legend, is the number of championship holes, number of homes per hole on championship courses. And you can see it fluctuates now. The first courses opened up in 84 and 86. So that's why it drops off at the left. But you can see it goes up and down, and it fluctuates anywhere from about 170 to 240 homes. We hit a low point when they opened up. A low point is good, by the way. When they opened up Evans Prairie and Bonifay and Belle Glade, those opened up relatively close together, and it created a low point. And we took another dip in 2020 or whenever it was that the Southern Oaks Golf Course opened up. But yeah, the number is slowly rising, but it's not too far off the average. Similarly, with the executive courses, we're seeing it climb. They're limited on where they can build and what they can build. But when you look at the overall average, okay, which is the blue line, it stays relatively constant. Yes, it is climbing. It's up about 10% from the 30-year average. And guess what? It's going to go back down as they open up these executive courses. The changes become less and less as the community gets bigger and bigger, because 500 new homes is a small percentage of the home population when you got 75,000 homes. 9 holes is a small number compared to what have we got here? 693 homes or something like that, if you don't count the pitch and putts and putt and plays. That's the graph they're talking about. The graph is good, it's accurate, and the numbers will start coming back down once they start opening up these courses. Remember, we got 54 holes of championship courses going to be opening up in the next couple of years, and who knows how many executive courses. So that's going to drive the numbers back down. But of course, new homes opening up is going to drive the numbers back up. All right, we're going to hold off on that. What time is it? Wow, we are already at 4 o'clock. We'll continue on, I guess, since we got 175 people here. Let's see. Let me catch up here. We talked about aerators. Mike C says, let me go back to the other camera. My mouse does crazy things here. There we go. So Mike C says, is the construction that's going on by the traffic circle at the end of Buena Vista at Megason part of the Villages, or is that a third party? So Megason and Buena Vista. Oh no, that's just more of Richmond. That's 2 more units of Richmond. It's going to be one set of courtyard villas, and I think it's probably going to be veranda homes is the other part, or else it will be designer homes. But I want to say, what was it, 150 homes or something like that. So it's a fair number, but it's part of the Villages. Let's see. Don, is there a reason the builders do not install gutters on a lot of the homes? Also, would I need to get ARC approval to install gutters? Yes, you'll need ARC approval. The reason they don't is cost. It's not a requirement. They put it over the entryways, but it's not a requirement to have gutters. Many courtyard villas don't have gutters. My courtyard villa community that I live in, 10 years ago, every one of the homes had gutters installed, and so it's not a big deal. It's just a way they save money sometimes. Let's see. Lisa says, my husband and I had no problems finding a tee time for the executive courses. When we were there for a week in March, we did just as you mentioned. We were open to times and locations, so agreed. Okay. Cliff Gold says, do you have an update on the restaurant and Harry and the Natives? Last I heard, it's going to be opening up late this year, but I haven't been by there in a couple of days. The crane, the last time I was there, was still sitting there. Ah. So next one is, what is your favorite country club to dine at? Probably, oh man. So I dine a lot at Evans Prairie because it's a half a mile from my house. It's just right up the road. I live in the village of Hillsboro, and it actually winds through the village of Hillsboro. So that one's close. Cane Garden is another favorite. Belglade and Bonifay are both ones that we frequent, mainly because they're the ones closest to us. Let's see. Are the aerators in the ponds those fountains that spray the water up in the air? So yeah, most of the time it's just bubbling, but sometimes they do have little sprays. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Janet says these live broadcasts are very informative. You know more about the village and surrounding areas than. No, I don't know more than the Morse family. I gotta dig to find their secrets. Why is the second part of Richmond being built now? Well, after the other homes. You know, I've questioned that myself for a while, and you know, one of the things I've heard is they maybe become. They're not far enough along to tell it for sure, but a boutique community. So examples of that are like the cottage homes that are up at Lake Sumter Landing, the Marsh View community on Boudreaux Circle in the village of Marsh Bend, just past Publix as you're going up Marsh Bend Trail. This is the one with the brick street. That's a boutique community. There's a couple of other boutique communities. They may be doing that, but why they made that decision is beyond me. I don't know. Okay. Our agent arranged our golf for a lifestyle visit both times. Okay. So yeah, they don't have any magic access to getting golf tee times, but they do know how to use the system. Most of them do. Many of the agents are Villages residents that have been here a while. All right. So let's go back to our questions, because we want to get to this last question before we call it a day, because I think this is really important. And we got to get the mouse on there. Okay. BK and her YouTube name, the new YouTube name is at 5150SKB. Says, good afternoon. I attended the VPSDDD overview a few days ago. The VPSD change is, in my opinion, a great reorganization of this vital public service department. My only concern is that the county will not recommend the 1.33 millage assessment that currently exists. What are your thoughts concerning the sunsetting of the current assessment? It's not going to happen, at least not all of it, and I'm going to explain why. I got company here from a four-legged friend. So first we got to look at the history and why all this has transpired. In the summer of 21, there was an ad hoc fire, EMS, and medical transport committee formed by the Board of County Commissioners to discuss the slow response times for ambulance services. Response times 2 and 3 hours happened frequently. And the reason that happened was we had a private contractor, AMR. They staffed enough ambulances to make a profit. They're not going to staff more and lose money unless the county paid them to do so. And at that time, the county was not going to pay them, so they had basically 6 ambulances. The residents weren't happy with the performance, and in September of 2021, Board of County Commissioners decided to bring transport service into the fire departments, with each fire department providing ambulance services. And this is where we are now. So we went from 6 ambulances for the whole county to right now I think we have about 19 ambulances, basically 1 in each firehouse. The county is running 4 ambulances with a peaking capacity of 6 right now. And the Villages Public Safety Department is running one per firehouse, and I believe they have an additional one for peak times. So there's a lot of ambulances on there. The response time for transport now countywide averages about 10 minutes, which is pretty dang good. The good thing is with our fire department, our firefighters are all paramedic, EMT. I don't know the difference. But they're all qualified to do the same thing that the folks in the ambulance are. They all have the same equipment. The big trucks have the same equipment as the ambulances. The big difference is the ambulances the big trucks can't transport. Only the ambulances can. So, and that was the holdup, was getting transport. And, you tie up an ambulance trying to get released, the patients released from the ambulance released and the patients taken over by the hospital. That slows down the response time. So we fixed that. And the two fire departments have fixed it. In October of 2022, that transport service went live for both fire departments, and we had to they staffed up. They brought ambulances on board, and we had to try and figure out what the cost was going to be. Michael says, do ambulances bill patients' health insurances? Absolutely they do. Both on the county and the VPSD side, they are billed for those services. And we're going to get to that. In November of 2022, there was an item on the ballot for an independent fire district, which would have made the Villages Public Safety an independent fire district, and they would basically report to the state, and that was defeated by a small margin, but it was defeated. I will be honest with you, I was initially for it, but the more I have learned, the more I am glad that it failed, because it would have devastated Sumter County Fire Department just because of the way the numbers work. So then in September of 2023, the county had an MSBU budget and that stands for Metropolitan Service Benefit Unit. Sorry, it's a mouthful sometimes. And that was going to be $324, I think it was, per home, plus businesses were going to get hit with a huge amount. And it was very disproportionate to the businesses. And our businesses are as much part of our community as the people are, and the residents that live here. Because remember, they're the ones that provide our services. They provide jobs for people in the community. And if you make it a toxic business environment, they're going to leave. Jobs are going to go with it. So it has a negative effect. It wasn't the right mix. It wasn't a good balance. So that's why it got defeated. And then in November of 2023, the Board of County Commissioners created the Villages Public Safety Department Dependent District. The Dependent District reports and turns its budgets in every year to the county commissioners for final approval. In an independent district, they did not. So this is a much better methodology for the overall the overall payment of services, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes. So the VPSDDD, okay, its current funding model is the same as for all of Sumter County and the villages. What we all pay is $125 per improved parcel. This is businesses, residents, everybody. plus about 25% of your current tax bill goes towards the fire department. So when you look here, this is a trim notice. This $1,139, a quarter of that also went to the fire department. Everybody thinks, well, businesses are only paying $125. No, that's incorrect. They're paying $125 plus a third of their property tax. And some of these businesses are paying $50, $80, $100, $200,000 a year in property tax, depending on the property. So it's a lot bigger than that. There were several groups out there that were, and are still to this day, saying it's not fair that businesses only pay $125. Well, they don't. They never have. They've always paid a quarter of their property tax plus the $125. $125 exists because we have many residents that in the county that don't pay any county property tax because their value of their property is not that high, and after you take out exemptions in that, their county property tax due is zero. So this ensures everybody pays just a little bit. Okay? So, and that was, let's go back to that. So all that money went into one pool, and that pool then pays the two fire departments' expenses. The $125 per improved parcel generates about $9 million of the total, oh gosh, I think this past year was $50 million of the fire department budget. So it only paid a small percentage of it. So I spoke to Mr. Blocker this afternoon before coming online, and just to make sure I had everything squared away and understood. So this is the proposed funding model. Right now, there is a fixed part of it, and that's $234 per year per residential unit. It's a flat rate. So this is like the MSBU, that $125 is $234. That represents 70% of the budget. Okay? And one residential unit averages out to, the average home size averages out to 1,718 square feet. So they consider that one residential unit. Okay? Businesses, they take their square feet. So if you've got a 10,000 square foot business, you divide it by 1,718 square feet. That gives you the number of residential units. So that would be about, 5.5 residential units. So they're going to pay 5.5 times 234. That's going to be their base rate of that 70%. And then they also add on utilization. Okay? So for residents, that works out to be about $100 a year. So they're looking at $334. For businesses, it will depend on the type of business and the utilization history. So we have, for example, some nursing homes, and they do a lot more calls to the fire department for emergency medical service than a residential unit does. So they're going to pay a higher percentage on this 30% of this 30%, which drives the residential down. So not only do they got to pay by the square foot, basically, but also by the type of utilization. So, I'm trying to think what would have a low utilization. If you have maybe a nail salon, they have a very low utilization. So that number would be lower than, obviously, a nursing home. And so that's where they get their total budget. Again, the residential unit is about $334 per year. Businesses is going to vary. Okay? So that is the cost. Now, there are other sources of revenue. Insurance revenue for the ambulances come out of that. Coming to that, there's $4.08 per month per home that comes out of the amenity fee that's always been earmarked for public safety, for increased services like the smoke alarm detector or smoke detector battery change out and things like that. So this is how Villages Public Safety is getting their funding along with the insurance money. This is not what was talked about at the last county Commission budget workshop. That was missed in the online news and in the Daily Sun with the statement that this does not impact the villages, what we were talking about when they were talking about either 19 or $23 million. That is totally separate, and the villages residents won't be paying that. That's for the residents outside of the villages outside of the villages fire department. Okay, so here's the rest of the story. Okay, ambulance cost. Ambulance utilization is about 30%. This is the actual service runs. Okay, and this is what the insurance and the patients cover, and this is how they get a significant portion of their revenues to cover the cost of running these ambulances. And 30% utilization is because of that is what's considered an acceptable level from a staffing standpoint. 70% of the ambulance costs are for availability. That truck sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning is not generating any revenue. And most of the ambulances are going to be sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's a good thing, because if your spouse starts to have a heart attack or a stroke and you need an ambulance, they're available. You know, if we only had 6 ambulances and there was a big wreck out on the I-75, and maybe 4 of the ambulances were tied up there, that left 2 for the entire county. So now we have a much larger group of ambulances to draw from, and that availability has to be paid for. Part of that availability time is used for upkeep and maintenance. This is the stuff that the firefighters themselves will do, or the ambulance personnel. They're firefighters. I shouldn't correct myself. This is what they're doing. And checking the oil, checking the tires, routine maintenance. Okay, restocking the vehicle. You know, they go on a run. They use equipment. They use syringes, rubber gloves, whatever. All that needs to be restocked. They do training. These guys do so much training, it's unbelievable. We don't give them enough credit for the amount of training that they do go through. But all that needs to be taken care of. And then they also need to rest. They work a 24-hour shift. So maybe they're not running at right now. So they're going to be catching their rest, because it could be 10 o'clock tonight. They have to go on a 2-hour run, or 2 o'clock in the morning. So they got to have time to rest. Okay. The county is covering this availability cost because it's not directly reimbursed by the operations. So that works out to be about $125 million per year per ambulance. That's a big number. Is it worth it? I can't answer that, but I would say yes, it is. If I need an ambulance, I know when my mom was living with me, she had taken a fall a couple of times. These guys were Johnny on the spot. They were right here. I mean, I don't live very far from Station 45, but it was great that they were available. And this was during the low time. The fire trucks got here. The big red truck got in front of my house in no time flat. But there was one instance where I know we waited well over an hour for a transport to get here. So those firefighters were tied up during that time. Let's see. What else was on there? Oh, yeah. The county's also covering many of the shared services. 911, okay, that service. It's phenomenal. We have a state-of-the-art 911 system in Sumter County. The county staff has done an incredible job in building up this system and making it state-of-the-art. Our accuracy rate with cell phones, which is the majority of the calls now to 911, is like 99%. It's unbelievably high for accuracy on locating. And it's because we have invested heavily and we have a state-of-the-art system. Maintenance and repairs, so this is, it's time for an oil change for the trucks. Well, they don't take it down to the Chevy dealer. The county has a facility for maintaining the vehicles, that maintain all the county vehicles, and that is covered out of the general fund, just like this availability is covered out of the general fund. Okay, so there's, these two items that are, and there's a lot more that comes out of this, the shared services. I don't have my notes in front of me from the last meeting, the workshop, but these shared services are important, and it makes it seamless when we start working, when we have to do closest available to respond because a unit is tied up. Just to clarify also, we're talking about Sumter County. If we're talking about Lake and Marion County portions of the villages, they have a separate agreement with the VPSD. VPSD responds. They get compensated for that directly. That's more of how the VPSD is funded. But again, we went from 6 ambulances for all Sumter County to 19 ambulances in total between all of them. And this additional availability cost has to be paid for. The original question was about the 1.3 millage points, the offset from, because before, remember, 25% of your taxes, or about 1.3 millage points, was coming out of the general fund, and now we're replacing it with this, the VPSD budget, and Sumter County has its own fire assessment. Well, we still have all these other things that we're dealing with. We've been operating very lean for the last year, and it's not sustainable. And a significant portion of that 1.3 millage is going to stay. I don't know what the numbers look like yet. That's what we've asked for as County Commission. We want to know how much is it going to cost us, so we can make these right decisions, because this is very expensive, but it's a very important part of what the county services provides. Excuse me. All right, so that's the gist of it. We're still in the budget process, and that's going to be going on for a few more months. We get into the summer months, then we'll be finalizing our budgets, and we will have a better idea of what the tax numbers look like. I'm going to be straight with you. You're going to see your county tax bill increase. Why? Because the residents asked for a higher level of ambulance service and fire service than what we previously had when we had AMR doing it. That's got to be paid for. That's the bottom line. The residents asked for better service and better service cost. So, let's see. Got some more questions here that came up. Does Villages stock most ponds with fish? I know they stock some. I know they stock the ponds over by the high school, and these bigger ponds, my guess is that they are stocking them. I know some of the ponds have been stocked. Let's see. Is it true there is a younger crowd in the southern areas? Yes, absolutely. I've been here 10 years. I'm 10 years older than I was when I moved in. And so are all my neighbors. I'm on the younger side. I just turned 63. Most of my neighbors are in their mid to late 70s, and many of them are in their 80s. So yes, they're getting older. And if you live farther north, those folks have been here 15, 20 years. I know a lot of people in their 80s and 90s, and they live a little farther north. The new people coming in are buying the new houses, and so the crowd is a little younger at the southern end. There is some, let's call it reseeding, as the attrition rate goes up in the northern parts. Younger folks are moving in. There is a lot of attractive properties at the north end of the villages. The landscaping is mature, it's lush, the trees are big and beautiful, and it's very attractive to many people. But they're trying different things, the walking paths and things like that in the southern part of the villages that are attracting a lot of people. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for a more active lifestyle. So that's not a bad thing. It's just the reality of it. Greg R. says, is there any volunteer component to the fire departments? I was a volunteer EMT in a combined volunteer career department in Virginia. No, there's not. There is not. We don't do a volunteer fire department. It's purely a paid professional fire department. The problem with volunteer fire department is, consistent availability. So I know a lot of people have asked that question. That's the best answer I can give you at this point. And Larry wants to know, are you looking to do any customized options when you get your new home on the when you go all the way? Oh, wait. Let me try this again. Oh, no wonder. I just started reading one and then read another one. All right, so hi Dawn, are you looking to do any customized options for your new home, stretch lanai, or garage, for example? I'm not looking for any major customizations. Many of them I will do after I move in. For example, crown molding. I used Creative Finish Carpentry to do my crown molding in my courtyard villa. They were in and out in about 5 hours, and that included painting one of the bedrooms. And they did a phenomenal job, and I intend to use them again. No, they're not one of my advertisers. I wish they were, because I believe in what they do. They do a great job. There are many other companies that also do it. But nothing, no real customizations per se. We want a golf cart garage as well as a 2-car garage. I have a swimming pool now. I put a swimming pool in my courtyard villa because I had a big enough yard. It's, I've had a swimming pool now for about 10 years. Between my 2 houses, I'm over it. I don't use it as much as I thought I would. I don't regret buying it. I love getting in the pool. The dogs love the pool, of course. They're golden retrievers. So that's not a high priority anymore. I'm getting older, I guess. All right. Let's see. MoyerBiz24 says, when do we get a gas station for carts south of 44? The 7-Eleven at Magnolia isn't accessible from the other side of Megason unless you go all the way up to the Water Lily Bridge and backtrack. Well, you can also go up to Lake Deaton Plaza and get gas at the Merritt there. Who's going to put the gas station in? The businesses have to want to be there. Now there is a lot of commercial property on the 3 corners at Megason and Warm Springs. What goes in there, I don't know yet. Obviously, a gas station would be a prime business if you were so inclined to open up a gas station. Anybody can go into business in this country. That's a beautiful thing. But there has to be a demand. Obviously, the demand now exists, and will there be? Probably so. Don't forget, there's also that piece of property all the way down at the end of Megason. No, I'm sorry. It's at the end of Chandler, not Megason, in Dabney. That's scheduled to be commercial property. Will it be a gas station? I don't know, but it sure seems like a great place for one, because that would be the only gas station at that turnpike exit. What a gold mine that would be. All right. Whew. We have gone an hour and a half on a 1-hour show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope I've answered your questions. If you have questions, please feel free to email me at live@goldwingnut.com. Join in on the message, the chat going on here in the live broadcast, and let me know what they are. Sometimes I have to do some digging to find the answers for you. Most of the time I know the answers off the top of my head. Some, they're just they're not going to be answers. When is the developer going to, build this or build a bowling alley or what have you? I don't know those answers. They're good at keeping secrets, but I will give you the answers that I can find to the questions that you have. And I enjoy doing this, and we'll see you back here next Sunday. Thanks everyone for joining. That's the end of the broadcast.